Hello, I'm Chaotic Hellhound. You can call me Chaotic or Cece. I do art and commentary. This is the first video I have, and I have a few things I'd like to add before we get to the video. This video would not have its footage without two viewers on Henry Poston's video or YouTube short. So quick shout out to at squiddDude and at Kingoftheseavr. I'll have screenshots of the users and such on screen in a moment. Now, one thing before we start, I currently have commissions open. My Discord will be on screen for a few seconds here, and in the description for anyone interested, as well as my community Discord server. Now, on to the video. Since this is the first video, I'm just going to read some stories. I will give credit before each story, as most of these were found on Reddit. And we're doing my favorite genre, horror. Story 1 is by user Mom Says I'm Pretty. It's a little funny to me. True story time. I was about 4 to 5 years old, and my parents had just separated. My mom was living in a 2-bedroom apartment. I had my own bedroom, but I preferred to sleep. The bedrooms were at the end of the hallway, directly across from each other. Our apartment was on the first floor, and I remember that it was in the middle of summer, and my mom had a window open in her room, which was directly behind the bed, above the headboard. Anyways, I woke up in the middle of the night and remember sitting up and seeing that our cat was sitting in the door frame of my mom's room. Her door was open and you could partially see into my bedroom. This was strange because our cat was typically always in bed with us. As I was watching him, he walked into my bedroom and meowed. I turned to face my mom and wake her up. In the 3 to 4 seconds it took her to wake up and ask me what was wrong, we both looked back up into the door frame and there was a man standing by my open door, making his way out of my bedroom. I still don't know how she managed to do it so quickly, but my mother proceeded to pick me up and literally throw me out of the screen window. Again, we were on the first floor. It was maybe a 3-foot drop to the ground. She quickly followed me and we were able to start screaming for help and someone called 911. The police came but didn't see any sign of forced entry, only that our front door was unlocked, which led them to believe the man must have exited that way. The strange thing was that my mom swore up and down that she locked the door that night, with the deadbolt and the chain lock. About a week later, she was cleaning the kitchen and I opened up our heater closet and found a notebook with the names and drawings, as well as a pair of gloves and some gum wrappers. The police were called again, but all they could do was speculate that the man had been in our house and hid till we were asleep. Story 2 is by Christopher Squawkin. I was sitting in my room after getting out of work, on the second floor. My little brother is downstairs watching TV, the dog is in the hallway outside of my door sleeping. All of a sudden, dog starts making all kinds of racket, jumping around, barking, clacking nails, howling, the works. I go to get up to see what's going on, and I hear, "Aw, that's a good girl," in a male voice. It didn't sound like my little brother, so I go, "Oh, you're home early," thinking it's my dad's friend or our roommate, as I open the door. Soon as I'm out there, there's no one at all but the dog wagging her tail, staring at the empty end of the hallway. Little brother comes upstairs to yell at me for getting his dog riled up, said he heard the same voice, thinking it was me or our roommate. We did a once-over the house with my butterfly knife and his baby gun. There was nobody. Still gives me the spooks to this day. Story 3 by Tucker48. My mother-in-law was a very funny and cool woman. She and my wife were really close, and sadly she passed away when our son was about 4 months old. Flash forward a few years, we lived in an old 1930s-era craftsman house in Pasadena, California, I believe. Our son was about 3 at the time. I was giving him a bath one night, and he starts looking over my shoulder. Not at random stuff, but at something. A moment passes, and he asks me why Grandma calls Mommy a funny name. Long pause. I ask him what he meant, thinking he was talking about my mom. Then he says, "Why does Grandma call Mommy blank out the name?" My mother-in-law's nickname for my wife. I was really set back by this. My wife and I never used that nickname. It was just what her mom called her since she was a baby. I asked him where he heard that. His reply, "The farmer told me." I asked him who the farmer was, and he replied, "His friend." I tell my wife this story later, and she's of course reduced to tears at the whole nickname thing. We both know there's no way for him to know, and this just kind of marveled at it. Flash forward to the next weekend. My son is playing in his room. My wife is at work. I'm home. My wife works at retail. I work Mondays through Fridays. I hear him start talking like he's having a conversation. He's saying things like, yes, no, I don't know that, and then some laughing. I go to his room and ask what he's doing, and he says playing. I ask with who, and he says the farmer. At this point, I'm already thinking of the Exorcist movies, Captain Howdy. It's a little unsettling. I ask him where the farmer is, and he says he left when I came in. WTF. So my wife gets home, and I tell her this. Now she's just as weirded out as I am. We have no idea what to do, and figure if it happens again, we'll do something about it. A few days later, in the middle of the night, we overhear our son say the following. "Grandma says you and I can't be friends anymore." Wife and I go to check on him, both of us a little freaked out. He's just sitting up in bed. I ask if he's okay, and he says, yeah, Grandma says I can't play with the farmer anymore, and he never mentioned the farmer again. Not ever. He's 13 now and doesn't remember any of it. We do, though. Story 4 was by a deleted user, so sadly I cannot give credit to this person. My grandmother lives in a very old house, late 1700s, which is surrounded by graveyards on both sides. The other day, my friend, who I hadn't seen for months, arrives at my house. We're walking along the old cobblestone driveway when he begins talking about his newfound spirituality. Not in a religious context, but with regards to feeling tuned in to things. I believed him. He'd been away at drug treatment, and I believed that he had been experiencing some sort of cerebral or spiritual awakening. Anyways, as we're talking, my cat walks over and starts rubbing up against my leg. After a while, I realize she won't quit and she's trying to tell me something. I start to follow her and soon realize she's going to the graveyard. She jumps on a gravestone, balancing on the shoulder part of the gravestone, and will not move. She begins hissing when we try to take her off the gravestone, and we realize the grave was of someone who had lived and died in that house. This next story comes from a friend of mine who we're gonna call Kiro. All names in this are fake, but the events were true. Me and my ex Lily went on a walk around 2:45 to 3 in the morning, in an abandoned area with stray dogs and cats. We came across a gate that says do not screw it. There's no cameras in sight, so we continued on our walk. People will say that flesh pedestrians aren't real, but this just made me believe they do. We continued on our walk, and she started whistling. I asked her to stop, but she didn't, so I was keeping an ear out and panicking. I told her we needed to leave, and she told me to stop being a baby about it, so we kept walking. Paranoia is very high now, so I kept my knife open in hand, just in case. Then I see something approaching and decide we need to run, while she acts like she knows this thing. Then I hear a scream, so I drop everything and run, literally dropped my knife, phone, wallet. The cat and dogs can all be heard as I book it back down the path. She yells for me to stop running like it's a joke, before I hear a thud like she fell. About halfway home now, she's screaming my name. I slowly turn back, and she is visibly bleeding. Down the side of her head, ripping her jeans, and one shoe missing. I shout at her to get away from me, and she lets out this demonic screech like something from a movie. I just run. The nearest store is 20 minutes away from where I am. As soon as I'm in the store, I couldn't because someone was out there, and I asked to use a phone. I tried calling both our moms and others, but no one picked up, so I began pacing the store. Then I see her, perfectly fine, standing outside, not a scrape on her. For a moment before entering, she just stands there. As soon as she enters, she asks the store clerk if I'm here, and I try to signal no, but he points me out anyways. She goes to reach for me, but I scream that I don't want to go with her, and I threaten to call the police. I leave after that and start heading the way we came. I had ran the opposite way from where we walked in from, so as I pass the gate, I can see something. standing in the darkness. I keep walking now with this thing following me, but now I realized I need to go back to grab my things, so I turn around and make eye contact with someone who asks what I'm doing out here alone. I tell them I'm not alone, my friend's just down the road. He leaves, so I go back to find my things. No knife, but my phone is in my purse at 3%. I used the remaining percentage to turn on my flashlight and find my knife. I find it closed, which is weird because I left it open, but ignore it and get back to the road. As I walk, I feel eyes on me, and I hear growling. I speed over to a garage and waited till daybreak, plugging in my phone to any nearby outlet. After that, I called my mom and told her everything that happened, sent her my location, waited. I never spoke to Lily after that. She continues to text me, so I tell Lily's mom, but she told me Lily hasn't been home in a couple weeks. Her phone is at the front door. I blocked her number after that. This last story was submitted by my adoptive dad. And quick little note to my dad, thank you for inspiring me with all of my art and such, and helping me get to where I am now. This is a semi-altered version of a very popular horror story, and was originally used for a class project. Cindy was a 16-year-old girl who lived with her father. He worked as a patrol officer for the state's mental hospital, or mental health institution, which was about a 40-minute drive from their house. It was late on a Saturday night, usually the night he would have off to spend with Cindy and watch scary movies. Sadly, just that evening, he was called in to pick up an extra shift due to the place being understaffed. An escape took place just a few months ago, and a few ill-minded patients had gotten out. He reluctantly agreed due to them offering to pay extra for the hours, and they really could use the money. Come on, Dad, this is ridiculous. It's your day off, and we were going to watch Halloween. And Cindy said, visibly upset that her father was leaving. I know, Pumpkin, but we could really use the money, and they really need more patrol officers to help clear this whole thing. I'll be back early in the morning, and we can spend all of Sunday together, okay? Her father replied in an attempt to help win his daughter over. Here, I even got you some cash to help get yourself a pizza, okay? Handing Cindy a $20 bill. Okay, fine, but you better be prepared tomorrow to rewatch this movie with me, Cindy said, hugging her father before he left, locking the door behind him. Cindy got comfortable on the couch and started the movie anyway. As the movie started, she ordered pizza online and waited. Though, halfway through, Cindy began to grow bored of the movie, not finding mindless murder all that exciting. So she decided to switch over to regular TV to see what was on while she waited for her food. She flipped through a few channels before landing on the news, talking about her town. Bored and curious, she decided to check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you that there has been an escape at the mental institution off Highway 5. Drivers are recommended not to pick up hitchhikers in that immediate area, and those home to lock their doors. A dangerous patient has not yet been found, and investigators have been working tirelessly with patrol officers to find him. Cindy heard all this from her father already, so she didn't pay much attention. Though the idea of dangerous man on the loose caught her attention, it was like the movies she always watched. Crazy serial killer out in the dead of night. She said the idea and switched it to another channel while she waited. Her only worry was if they would deliver with this man on the loose, so close to where she lived. Luckily for her, the doorbell rang after another few minutes. She walked over, cash in hand, and looked out the peephole to make sure it was the delivery man and not the crazed patient. She opened and paid for the pizza, taking it inside. She went back to her show, but for some reason heard the doorbell again a few minutes later. She assumed it was the pizza delivery guy, but just before she opened the door, she paused. Something didn't feel right. She decided to check the peephole again and saw her dad. That was strange. He shouldn't be home yet. Dad? Cindy asked, feeling something was off about this. She hadn't been noticed he'd be home early. The doorbell rang again, but no verbal answer. Dad, why are you home early? She tried again. Everything behind him was all blocked out. Only his face visible. Dad, answer me, I'm not opening this door. Cindy shouted, incredibly freaked out. She didn't know why he wasn't responding. Knocking came again, louder. The doorbell rang frantically at the same time. Cindy couldn't take it anymore and sat against the door to ensure it didn't break open. "Dad, please answer me," Cindy sobbed, holding the locked door from being broken open. She didn't know how long she'd been sitting there, her face against her knees, listening to the pounding on the door and the ringing of the doorbell, till she woke up, not even remembering passing out. She stopped, seeing the light peeking through the curtain, and stood, looking at the people. She saw her father there, in the exact same spot, his unblinking eyes still staring directly at her. She unlocked the door, cracking it open before screaming. Her father's head hung on the meat hook, a note written in blood underneath him. "You're all alone now." Alright, my name is Chaotic. Thank you for listening, and good time zone. Hope everyone has a nice day. And with the remaining bit of time, I'm gonna do a mini talk about my commissions and my server that we've got going on, as well as the art piece in the background. I am quite surprised that this only took 16 minutes of the video, and I have an hour of footage, so the rest of this is going to be a lot of random rambling. The art piece we have in the background is of a sunset in a Duatan colorblindness? Blue-green colorblindness, so the only colors that anyone can see, really, are blues and yellows. The two people mentioned in the very beginning of this gave me the idea for this. One of them very insistent that I get this video done, and the other one giving me their personal colorblindness of the blue-green. Now for commissions. I have my DMs fully open to anyone who is requesting commission. And I've got my community server. My community server has more info on commissions posted up, and the commission prices will be posted not only in DMs when you come to talk to me, but also in the server. I will have all of the info also in the description, so my Discord tag, my server link, and even some links to some art chats for those who want to find more artistic people like themselves. Editor Toby here. I'm gonna be talking about the art piece here, and then probably rambling quite a bit afterwards. I tried my best to get the footage and the audio to be around the same length, so I hope it worked out. Prior, we have the colorblindness scheme to it, but the paints that I'm working with are very difficult to deal with. That black, if you notice already, is very watery and not the greatest. I don't remember where me and my sibling got that, but we've had it for a little while now, and it just needs to be watered down every time that we use it. I'm trying my hardest here to get that black to go away because I accidentally picked up some of it. And I think I did a pretty good job with it. The yellow that I'm using is trying to get a base coat for everything and try to get like an outline of where the clouds sit. The mountains or the landscape in front is something that I will probably struggle with quite a bit later. But for now, we're focusing on the sky, and I'm actually quite proud of this. This is my first landscape painting that I've done in a very long time. I've done sketches, sure, but full-on paintings is the first one in a while. I quite enjoyed doing this, actually. I had a video talking about issues in the art community in the background at the time, and due to me not wanting to get copyrighted, I had to mute the entire clip because I had something playing in the background at all times. I can't really ever fully pay attention to what I'm doing without some sort of noise in the background. And actually figured out recently that I have inattentive ADHD, so that's one of the reasons I struggle with this. Also one of the reasons I've been bouncing around quite a bit. And stumbling, stuttering, and such. Although this video being the first in a while is pretty nice. I'm quite proud of where it stands. I really wish I did have more audio to go with it, instead of having this clip in the back just rambling for the last half an hour or so. But I do quite enjoy just sitting back, watching the clip, and talking about what's going on. Another factor to the videos that I'm going to be making is I'm going to do a lot of art commentary on the problems in the art community and other things associated. One of the issues that I will be bringing up in the future is going to be a lot to do with different fandoms. And I will be putting trigger warnings on every video in the beginning, just to give everyone a heads up on what the content of the video will be. The main inspirations that I have for this are Bree Draws and Drama Queen and quite a few other people. One of my main inspirations to actually get this channel started was my partner, Kingoftheseavr. You should definitely go check his stuff out. He is just purely random chaos. And he's actually quite enjoyable to watch. He does quite a lot of VR stuff, so he'll be bouncing around, running around constantly, and just rambling. Another thing that I'm going to bring up, because I'm bouncing around everywhere right now, we've got 40 minutes of this video, and I am out of audio, so we're bouncing everywhere. But the brushes that I have in this video are very old, and I had to spend at least an hour before starting the recording of just cleaning them. They were caked with paint by the time that I got hold of them, because they'd been sitting on a shelf for ages. But a nice trick that I will give painters and other people with any artistic wants and such: mix rubbing alcohol and water, and it comes off so easily. Personally, this is one of my new favorite tricks, because I often forget to clean my brushes after I'm done using them. Honestly, guilty. Charge me, put me in the jail cell. I really have a bad habit of leaving paintbrushes fully covered in paint and just setting them there till they dry. But with this new bit of a little bit of rubbing alcohol, mix it in that, and then rinse that out with water, and it slides right off the brush. It also makes the brushes feel softer, which is amazing and very helpful. I'm gonna use another part of this to promote my Superstar Daycare show. This is something that I've been working on for a very long time, at least 4 months now. This was all inspired by the Sun and Moon show, as well as the Eclipse and Puppet show, and other shows in that group. My channel, my show, the Superstar Daycare show, is the one with Minecraft-related things on it, not the VR one. We do have a very similar channel name to someone else named the Superstar Daycare Show, but they do VR stuff. However, I do not have access to VR, so we are doing Minecraft. Back on the topic of other art, I have a Tumblr as well. So if you can't find me on Discord or don't have access to Discord, I also have a Tumblr, and I have an Instagram. I will also be putting both of those in the description, as well as in my channel bio. If you or your friends ever want to do commissions but you don't have the money to, I am willing to do art trades as well. I am really looking forward to getting this channel all set up and having it grow in a way. I'm very excited to have all of these new people come in and watch the things that I loved watching for years now. Again, big inspiration from Bree Draws and many other people. And I'm honestly just really glad I got to go through with my dream of making content like this. I might not be posting a lot because I am a one-man team for this channel. I am doing all of the editing, recording, voiceovers, and all of the art that you see in the clips and the footage. Every once in a while I will have my sibling as a special guest because they will be coming over to hang out. And I might do some other clips, like some video game clips with them. If I do end up doing video game clips on this channel, it will most likely be some sort of art-related thing. But I do have a third channel called Desiree is Dying, with a lot of glitchy letters. I'll again have that in the description or the bio. It's a very old channel, so the name is very old. Probably around 2018 or so. But I'm going to be mostly doing video gaming on that channel, and keeping all of the art commentary and art-related things to this channel. I still have at least 30 minutes of this clip, so I'm gonna just keep rambling, I guess. What can I ramble about next? My inspiration to get into art. I don't really clearly remember when I was inspired to get into art, or what got me to actually start going through with all of this, but it definitely started around 2015, somewhere around elementary school, or earlier. I definitely was one of those kids with the cringe gotcha OCs or whatever when gotcha was huge. And I really had issues with making Mary Sue characters. But I do quite enjoy seeing some Mary Sues. Seeing the gotcha platforms coming back into popularity for the Mary Sue characters is very nostalgic to me, and I'm very excited to see the creativity that the new generation of kids come up with, even if a lot of them, it just has a lot of brain rot. But I am looking forward to the truly creative kids in this new coming generation. Gen Alpha, specifically. Now, in this point of the painting, I'm going back and refining some of the, blending between the yellow and the blue, and filling in whatever gaps I can see with my eyes. My camera seems to be a lot better at picking up the mess-ups and the very messy blending. But honestly, that's the journey of art. It's mess up and try again and keep growing. It's one of my favorite types or times in art, is when you mess up and you realize it, and then you go back and you can fix it very easily and just make it look so much nicer. And even if you do make a mistake that you're unhappy with, you can always go over it, or you can always erase it. Or even just start anew, and in that new try, you can get even better than you were the time before. I do have one regret on this, is I wish I got the blending done a lot easier, but I have acrylic paints, so I have a very short blending time with them. They're something Craftsman or something like that. Yeah, Craftsman paints. So they don't blend the best. I also don't have very many tools at my disposal to just keep going with it. Or keep blending, to be honest. Next ramble or rant I'm gonna go on, or tangent I'm gonna go on, my art school. Not school for art, but just my art classes in school. How many bad teachers have y'all had? Because I've had quite a few, and I've only been in full art classes for a few years. Like, at least 2 years of high school and 1 year in elementary school. And I just seem to be collecting the bad art teachers or something. Because not once have I had an actual fully good experience, except for with my filmmaking teacher. He was a really cool dude, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing him again next year. But, like, my actual full-on art teachers of, like, theater arts and painting and graphic design, they were all so rude. Like, what is the issue with these art teachers? Is it just universal that all of us artists get the really shitty art teachers, and all of the kids that don't care about art seem to be collecting themselves in those classes? Like, I had one really good art teacher, and he was really cool, and he would go on tangents in Spanish, though, sometimes, and I could not understand what he was yelling at the class about, because I don't understand Spanish, sadly. I'm learning, though, which I'm very excited about. But he would go on these rants in Spanish, and he was pretty cool. But with the rest of my teachers, it was like, you got the class of kids that don't care, the group of kids that don't care, and then you've got the teacher who's just so exhausted for, like, so many reasons, and snaps at the smallest things because they're so tired. And I feel so bad for teachers a lot of the time, because, like, they have to put up with, like, teenagers' BS. But, God, were some of my teachers strict. Like, I had my theater teacher, she was honestly kind of ableist, because it was supposed to be a mixed class of, like, special ed kids and non-special ed kids, but she was just so mean, for almost no reason. She looked a lot like my adoptive mom, not my adoptive dad's partner, but my adoptive mom from a different side of the family. Like, she looked almost like her, but sounded so different and acted so similar in a way. But my adoptive mom is a lot nicer, honestly. They just had a lot of the same, like, not really showing a whole bunch of emotion to anyone around, or, like, having a lack of care for everything. Apathy. Apathy, almost. Then I had this older teacher. She was my graphic designs teacher, and she was so irritating to deal with. She would get really upset if I didn't use Blender or didn't use the platform she wanted, even if I could show her a different platform that worked just as well. She only started letting me use other platforms when I showed her and another teacher that they worked just as well, and complained to a different teacher that she wouldn't let me use the platforms that are easier to use. But, I mean, I got to use my other platform, so yay. That was really fun. I mean, I'm glad I got to use my proper tools that I am good at using. Also, the one issue that I ever really had with Blender was my computer couldn't take it, so I had to use the school's computers, and the school computers would lag so bad sometimes, and other times it just was so confusing to try and memorize all the keys and try to figure out all of what I was supposed to be doing, because there were kids talking all the time, or I was spacing off, or even if she just didn't fully explain it correctly. But I will, in the future, go back and try another shot at Blender,
because I know Blender is going to make doing commissions and such a lot easier for certain types of commissions, and it'll give me a lot more opportunities. I have been having this conversation with all of my art teachers, but I'm looking into going into tattoo art as well, which is something I'm really looking forward to, is the tattoo art school. Tattoo art has been something I've been looking forward to since I was a little girl, and I'm actually really excited to get into contact with some people that would take me for their apprentices. My biological father has a lot of contacts with tattoo artists and is trying to see if he can get a hold of any of his artists to see if I could be an apprentice in the future. And honestly, I think I might do pretty well in tattoo school, because I've got a large range of different art styles and a quite vast knowledge in art communities and such. And I know that art communities don't really matter when it comes to art school, but when you got certain clients, you definitely gotta watch out. One thing I will mention on this painting, though, is I'm very proud of how it turned out, and I'm very excited to see the other types of landscape art that I can do in the future. This was the first time doing landscape in, I think, a few years? Or at least a year. The challenge of working with the colorblindness palette that I gave myself, though, was very fun. I was very happy to be able to use that and try to make it a little more understanding of people with these kind of colorblindness. For those people who do have this type of colorblindness, please let me know if I got this correct. Or if you can have a friend see or help you see if I got this correct, because I really want to do y'all justice. I've got a friend of mine who has a different type of colorblindness, and it is very funny to talk to them sometimes. Honestly, I am really looking forward to working more with these kind of challenges of, like, only limiting to these few colors, or limiting to this type of vision, or things like that. And thank you again for watching and listening to me yap for about 40 minutes. Have fun seeing the results of the painting, and I'll see you guys in whatever other videos I decide to make.